with the group of 1997 graduates here from Jefferson High School. Pete Borchers, Nick Johnson, Nick Hager, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Describe your time here at Jefferson. Very similar era to me in 98, but 1997, it's a long time ago. What does it feel like to be back in this high school, guys?
We were just talking, like, I don't think any of us have actually walked in the door that we walked in here in 30 years. So seeing some of these changes is crazy. Our lockers are no longer there anymore.
Yeah, I remember my locker code, 362612. I was going to give it a shot, but it's gone.
Yeah, so this is pretty amazing. It's nice to see some of it really looks great in here. So
new stadium coming too, hopefully in the next couple of months, but a lot of changes since then.
I just drove by the stadium yesterday, and so it still gives you goosebumps when you drive by it. So I'm gonna miss that place. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm excited for that. It'll be awesome.
What were some of the coaches that had an impact on you, playing different positions, obviously, for the team? But Pete, we'll start with you as a specialist. Describe your time with Jaguar football and who were there helping you.
Yeah, sure. A specialist, you mean backup kicker is what you're referring to. But Coach Shea, obviously the head coach, he was awesome. I got to work with him quite a bit because he did help with the special teams. Mm-hmm. And also, since I didn't have much to do being the backup kicker, I was running the plays and doing the calls, right? Like, so I still remember, all the signals. And so Coach Shea would help out with that, and then Coach Birdie and I would stand on the sidelines during the games and signal in the calls. So it was very important. It was a big get for you guys to get me here today.
We know you spoke at your graduation commencement. I still remember you giving that speech in '97. So you're still big time.
I guess I am. And it would never happen. Okay, honestly, I don't want to hug. So it wouldn't have happened without football. Specifically, this guy. I don't want to get mushy here, but I was 120 pounds or something
on a good day.
On a good day, I was like the smallest kid ever, and I'm like, I'm gonna play football. And this guy, I knew him from the locker we were talking about, and he's like, all right, let's go. And he dragged me down to the weight room. First time I ever benched was 80 pounds, I think was my max. But I don't know if he believed in me, but literally, I was a shy kid that I didn't get out of my shell, and NJ brought me into football. I made all these friends, and now I wouldn't have done stand-up comedy, all the other things I've done. I think so. I've told you this before. NJ is one of the most important people in my life because of football. So it was pretty great.
How about you, Nick? You're used to playing with 120-pound guys. Scott was one of them in your front yard, getting dominated in neighborhood football. So
great touch football games. Actually, that was tackle football too back in the day. Yeah,
I chipped some teeth in your front yard.
I do remember that. My mom was not happy, but we, for us, we're both linemen. And so, as 10th graders, we had a chance to play for Coach Vasilio, who was amazing, and he was such a patient person, and he was such a great teacher. And he would, he never would raise his voice. He was always calm. And so that was a lot of fun. At 10th grade football, Coach Lynch, was the head coach, and I remember we used to have to run up and down the hill for conditioning, and we had to move on Coach Lynch's hat. I remember that for the rest of my life. And then when we got up to the show, Coach Bird was our O-line coach, and we were a very close group. We had good. It was good people, good friends. We spent a lot of time together. I remember going into our senior year, we had to go take Coach Bird's dock out. You remember that? He told us one day that was our job on a Saturday, and we all got in our cars and drove to his cabin and took his dock out. And I think he bought us dinner. So
I remember that.
But it was amazing, and I think both those guys are just were very, very instrumental in my development and good people. So.
Nick, pretty much anybody that was coached by Coach Bird has had just amazing things to say about how they helped develop them as a player and a person. What about his approach to coaching made such an impact on so many?
Coach Bird was just very personable. He could relate with you. He could talk to you, especially at that age. Being a young man, he could bring it down to that level and make it resonate with you and give life experiences that we understood and could correlate that with getting older and becoming an actual adult. I think that was our biggest thing with Coach Bird, is that I enjoyed talking with him, not as a coach, but as an actual friend. And I would say Coach Bird was a friend of mine. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed Coach Bird and being coached by him. So.
I'll say this like as a role player, if you will. I never, like, the coaches always made me feel like I was just as important part of the team as all the other guys. So I mean, that was really great that they did that. So
Absolutely.
What was it like playing alongside each other with the offensive line, guys? What were the strengths? Who was the better lineman?
Oh, no, don't even start. So I was very lucky that Coach Bird let me play my senior year, right? You were very good. No, you were very good. No, you were tackle, right? And you were right tackle, right?
Yep.
And then Dave Burton was our left tackle.
Yep.
And then we had Eric Weingart. Yeah, Eric Weingart, Brian Bottomiller, Chris Walsh. If you remember Chris Walsh, he was about 4'8", 80 pounds, and he would just street fight you anywhere. He just loved playing. He played nose guard, and but that group of guys, we all got along so well. Like, we were our entire group of friends, we were just super close. We lived and died this. It was everything to us. It's fun, like, still today, that was almost 30 years ago now. And we see, it's fun to see these guys, and you're talking about your kids and your lives and all these fun things. It's just, it all started just from this, and this is what we were involved with, and we cared so much about it. So, but you were definitely a lot better than I was. So, yeah. Yep. No questions. Yep.
Pete, I think some people have shared some interesting stories about how you reflect on your position as the backup kicker, and I don't know if you remember what you said, but
Are you talking about? Well, I do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I do have a whole bit about being the backup kicker on the high school team. So I won't do the whole bit for you, but it ends. I say it. This is a lie, but the bit ends where we have the big banquet right at the end of the season, right, where everyone gets their awards, and the prize and the captains were announced for the next season. And at that banquet, everyone got their letters, right? Almost everyone got their letters, right? There's one rule you had to do to letter high school at Jefferson. You had to play in a game. I was the only senior that year that didn't play in a game, which meant I was the only person that didn't get a letter. But instead of getting left out at the banquet in front of everybody, right, I didn't get a letter, but I got my very own certificate of participation, which looked really cool in my certificate of participation jacket. Slid it. That's a lie, by the way. I did play because someone got in trouble.
You did.
Yeah, I won Metro leaderboard, right?
Pete's claim to fame. Week 1, we were at Park Cottage Grove, and Pete made a field goal, and so he was listed, in the Star Tribune. It said the scoring, and he was actually one of the Metro leaders in scoring after week 1. It finished 3 points.
Yeah. And there was about 3 or 4 extra points too. So it was points total.
Yep.
Let's don't shortchange me. It was a 19-yard field goal too. So it was pretty big.
It was impressive. So we did. It was. That's your claim to fame, and he actually carried the newspaper clip with him for a long time. So it worked out pretty well.
I think Coach C said something like, you said to the team, if you work hard enough and a couple people get into trouble with the law, you too could eventually get your way onto the field.
Exactly. So you got to be ready. You got to be ready when your time comes, right? And I did just fine.
You made your kicks.
I couldn't kick 55-yard field goals by running up a hill. That was what Cam could do. That guy was amazing. Like
I do remember that.
Holy cow! But our starting kicker, he could. I mean, he went out of college and he played in the Arena League, I think, eventually. But he literally. So the practice field was 40 yards long for our the special teams, right? So I would kick. No, it was 50 yards long. I would kick to about 40 yards, give or take the wind, and I'm done. I can't kick any farther. He would go to the edge of the field, which was 55 yards, and then it went down the hill into the pit, right? So he put the ball at the top of the hill, and then he would make his run up the hill and still put it through the uprights, 55 yards running up the hill. So can't compete with that.
Nick, you're obviously wearing an Egan High School shirt. Not to throw any shade at Jefferson, Egan is where you still, to this day, are involved with football in charge of their team.
Yeah, so I've been coaching football at Egan for 20-some years now, and I've been the head coach for the last 6 years. And a lot of that is, when our staff took over the program 6 years ago, we literally were the worst football team in America. Like, I would argue with anybody, there was not anybody worse.
Well, 2 years in a row you didn't win a game?
No, the first year we didn't win a game, and then ever since then we've just won a little bit more. And so, but a lot of the lessons you learn here and that you took from them, every time I call everybody sir, call everybody ma'am. You shake hands with somebody, you look them in the eyes, and people get mad at me sometimes for calling them sir. They'll be like, "Don't call me sir." I'm like, if Coach Shea found out that I did not call you sir, he would come to my house and he would knock on the door and he would probably be unhappy with me. But those lessons now you're teaching the next generation. This is how we do things. We do things correctly. We have standards, and that's important. And so it's been a ride. It's been a lot of fun. We're definitely getting there with our program, but a lot of that is what I learned here.
In addition to how you address people, what are some other things that maybe you've borrowed or emulated from the coaches that were here when you were here, and now those are things that are part of the Egan football program?
The importance of relationships. Right, I think that was the huge thing, and Nick had talked about it. Like, the coaches that we had and we played for, they were huge relationship guys. And I'm 45 years old now, right? And my team plays on a Friday night, right? And I still, on a Saturday morning, I will get texts from Coach Shea. I get emails from Coach Vasilio, right? I get Coach Mulherrick makes me giggle because he uses Facebook. You know what I mean? But they watch and they pay attention, and it's because of the relationships that were built back in the day. And I think that the staff that I'm a part of now are they're good dads, they're good husbands, they're relationship people, they care about kids, and that is, that's how I was taught. That's what we do. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing that's brought our program up.
Nick, how do you think Jefferson football helped prepare you for the rest of your life post-high school? Might be a broad question,
but a broad question. Basically, the ability they taught me teamwork right along with football and being as a team player, and that has helped me out through my career and working with other people. So that was your cliche answer of the teamwork, but yeah, absolutely, they built the relationship. I'm still friends to this day with a lot of my Jefferson football players. We played softball for, how long did we make it?
20 years.
Yeah, so we started having kids.
Yeah, we started in high school. Like we started
in high school
playing softball, not having kids.
But because of that, they've helped create and nurture our relationships, and I'll take that to my grave. And Jefferson has been a part of me, and I will always praise them up and talk about them all day long. So they've been a big part of my life. So,
how about some funny or memorable stories? Could be football related, could be softball related, that stand out.
Oh, wow.
Come on, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know. I found a picture like a year ago of when we all shaved our heads before our senior year. We decided that we all needed to, the day before two-a-days started, we all shaved our heads. And I stuck with that hairstyle, but not everybody else did. But it was really fun seeing that picture and looking at those guys and showing my own son. I'm like, he's met these guys and he's kind of seen them. I'm like, yeah, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. And we all just, you're 17 years old, and you got shaved heads and you look goofy, and I can still tell you how every game of our senior year went. Right? I can tell you all these things. And I know these guys. I love it. I can remember a lot of things, and I remember we cared more than anything else about beating Burnsville. That was the only thing that mattered. Our entire offseason going into our senior year, we were going to beat Burnsville. This is the year. It was important. We remember it was at our place and we lost 10-7. And I remember Justin Hall, our captain, caught a flea flicker pass in the end zone. I remember which end zone it was. And then I met there's a sophomore kicker for Burnsville. His name was Casey Spanish. I still you say that name and I get angry. But he made this field goal. It was 37 yards long, and we lost 10-7. And I remember just sitting on the bench, bawling at the end of that game. Like the band's playing, and like these guys had to come get me because you just cared so much. It was so important. And our senior year was the year that the MEA game, we were out at Eden Prairie, and that was Eden Prairie's first year of, they were 7-0, we were 6-1. And we went out there on a Wednesday night, and we're getting ready for warm-ups, and you can see the storm start to move in. And we spent the next 2 hours under Eden Prairie High School. And then they canceled the game, and they decided the next day we were all going to get to play at the Metrodome, right?
I remember that moment. Coach Shea came in, and we were all like bummed we weren't gonna play. And he's like, "The game's canceled tonight," and we're all like down. And then he goes, "Well, I got some good news. Tomorrow night we're playing in the Metrodome in the game." And it was like,
Yeah,
it was just,
and our whole conference was played at the Metrodome, right? And I remember first game was at 10, but we were the 7 o'clock game. We were the game. This is like a big deal, and they were good, and we were good. Unfortunately, our quarterback got hurt in the first quarter, and it didn't go as we had planned. But it's those little things that you remember. And I've told my team before, we're going to play a huge game against an opponent that's probably a little bit better than we are. And I'm like, let me tell you about the fall of 1994, right? Let me tell you about Jefferson going out to Eden Prairie, right? In a playoff game in the section finals, you know what I mean? And about it wasn't like a reverse flea flicker pass that Doug Hoffert, if I remember correctly, threw to Aaron Sinclair. And, the next thing you know, the Eden Prairie misses the extra point. Jefferson's wins 35-34, and we're going to state. And nobody would in their right mind would have said that Jefferson was going to win that game. But these things happen. It's high school football. Don't tell us you don't have a chance, right? But those memories, there's things that, 30 years later, you can still see it clearly. Memories. Memories.
Anybody else? Other stories?
well, I do remember after we lost our last game senior year, nobody wanted to be done, right? We just sat in the locker room, just didn't even know what to do, and I don't know how we wound up. We wound up sneaking into the field. We went over to Lincoln Field and snuck over the barbed wire fence and just hung out in the field for
There's
an hour.
15 of us on the 50-yard line, just hung out there for an hour.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
That it had been your whole life.
Yep.
I mean, it was our whole life, and it was, you cared so much, and all of a sudden it was done. And it was you didn't know what to do. So, yeah, it was amazing.
How did you feel sitting on that field? Kind of probably a surreal moment knowing that was last time you were going to play there.
I mean, it was cold.
Yep. It was November. Yep.
Yeah, and there wasn't.
I don't remember anything specific about it.
No, I think it was just that, and there were some of us that went on to play college football, and some of us never suited up again. And I mean, I don't know if it actually really hit at that point, but looking back on it, you were like, yeah, that was the last time that we were all together playing that sport again. So we all kind of went our separate ways, and it was good.
And even after that, I remember the Friday, if I'm correct, the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
For 5 years, we would play football here, down in the pit.
Down in the pit, yep.
And in our grade level, right, we had some serious athletes, right? And then we had us, right? But we all got along, right?
Yep.
But we would get together and we'd play against, it was those guys against us. And for those guys, they're used to being better. But for us, it was the Super Bowl, right? I mean, this is a big deal. And I remember when Justin Hall would come play, because he was playing for the Gophers, we weren't allowed to tackle him. Not that we could, but we weren't we can't, don't touch, But for the rest of us, we're 19, 20 years old, and we're playing out there on that field, and we're like it's the biggest game of the year, and we loved it. It was a blast, and just you still see those guys, out and about 30 years later, and guys have different kids all over the place. You run into them, and you're like, hey, we don't talk about doing it again. Now it's more about golf, but it's like, hey, it's good to see you guys. Remember we used to do this, and so, yeah.